as the first light of early morning drifts gently across the gravel-lined square. A monumental presence begins to awaken at the heart of Brussels. The air is cool, soft, almost reverent. Before the city fully stirs, before footsteps multiply and traffic hums to life, one structure stands quietly, as it has for generations, watching, remembering. Welcome to the Royal Palace of Brussels. Stretching majestically across the horizon, its dignified facade extends even longer than the famous Buckingham Palace. Perfect symmetry defines its form. Rows of tall stone columns rise with disciplined elegance, while hundreds of windows catch the pale blue of the morning sky, shimmering like calm water. Take a moment here. Relax your shoulders. Breathe slowly. There is an unexpected stillness in this place, a silence that feels almost surreal. Especially when one remembers that just beyond these walls lies one of Europe's most active political centers. Inside this space, time seems to loosen its grip, inviting reflection rather than urgency. This palace is far more than stone and ornament. It is a living chronicle of Belgium itself. The structure we see today rests upon layers of history. An earlier palace once stood here, before it was destroyed by fire. What rose in its place reflects the vision and ambition of a nation in transition, particularly under the reign of King Leopold II at the turn of the 20th century. Leopold II dreamed boldly. He envisioned Brussels as a Paris of the North, a city of grand boulevards, monumental architecture, and cultural authority. This palace was to be a statement of power, prestige, and permanence. Now, let us cross the threshold. We step through the massive bronze doors and enter the grand staircase. The effect is immediate, and quietly overwhelming, not through excess, but through balance. White marble steps curve upward with graceful restraint, their surfaces cool and luminous. Deep green marble balustrades line the ascent, grounding the lightness above. Sunlight pours down from a glass dome overhead, embracing statues carved in pristine white stone. Here, architecture speaks softly, but with certainty. Order, stability, authority. As we move through the long corridors beyond, the palace begins to breathe with memory. It is easy to imagine the past stirring around us. The soft rustle of silk gowns, the muted echo of polished shoes, the measured conversations of diplomats and royalty who once passed through these halls. We enter the Empire Room. Gold dominates the space, but never shouts. Vast carpets stretch beneath our feet, absorbing sound and slowing movement. Large ferns are placed deliberately throughout the room, their organic shapes softening the formality, inviting nature into a world of ceremony. Nearby lies the Goya Room, home to magnificent hand-woven tapestries inspired by works of the Spanish master Francisco Goya. Each thread carries patience, skill, and centuries of artistic tradition. Every chamber within the palace feels like a museum unto itself. Crystal chandeliers, some weighing several tons, cast warm reflections across gilded ceilings. Gold leaf reliefs catch the light gently, revealing details only to those who take the time to look closely. The wealth displayed here is not loud. It is restrained, refined, compressed into proportion, craftsmanship, and detail. Now, please slow your steps. We are approaching the most unusual, and perhaps the most emotionally complex, space in the entire palace. The Mirror Room. As you enter, lift your gaze slowly toward the ceiling. You will not find classical frescoes of mythological gods or heroic allegories. Instead, the ceiling glows with an otherworldly emerald green. The surface shifts subtly as light moves across it, as if millions of tiny gemstones were alive above us, breathing with color. This contemporary installation is titled Heaven of Delight, created in 2002 by Belgian artist Jan Fabre. But it is the material often fall silent, heads tilt upward, time pauses. And suddenly, history feels very close. Where did this splendor come from? The immense wealth that allowed King Leopold II to reshape Brussels did not appear without consequence. Much of it flowed from the Congo Free State, a vast African territory that, at the time, was the king's personal possession. Through forced labor, rubber extraction, and the ivory trade, unimaginable riches were transferred to Europe. But this prosperity was built upon suffering beyond measure, the exploitation and deaths of millions of African lives. With this knowledge, the emerald ceiling changes. The beetle wings no longer speak only of beauty. They begin to whisper. They become a metaphor for the fragile boundary between art and cruelty, for power unchecked by morality, for splendor purchased at an unbearable human cost. Here, art does not escape history. It confronts it. It asks us to stand still, to look upward, and to reflect on ambition, on violence disguised as progress, and on the responsibility of remembrance. Time, however, does not stand still. Belgium has begun to face its past. The Royal Palace of Brussels today no longer serves as a symbol of colonial dominance alone. It functions as the working palace of the king, a place for state receptions, and, during summer months, a space open to the public. It has become a site of education, dialogue, and gradual healing. Now, step outside into the royal gardens behind the palace. Listen. Birdsong echoes softly between ancient trees. Leaves stir in a passing breeze. The city feels distant here, held at bay by greenery and time. There is peace in this space. History cannot be rewritten, but it can be understood. And understanding, when paired with honesty and empathy, allows transformation. As evening approaches, the palace facade is bathed in warm amber and soft red tones. Streetlights flicker on, reflecting across rain-darkened stone after a passing shower, a familiar Brussels scene. People stroll quietly, carrying with them both wonder and reflection. The palace settles into night, holding within its walls stories of power, pain, and change, lessons that never lose relevance. Thank you for walking with me through the grand halls and contemplative spaces of the Royal Palace of Brussels. I hope this journey has offered you not only beauty, but a moment of stillness. If you enjoy historical films that explore elegance with philosophy and emotional depth, consider subscribing so we may continue these journeys together. Farewell, elegant Brussels. And until next time, we will meet again in the open pages of history.